Hello everyone. Welcome to Daily English Practice. Enhance your English through stories. Once upon a time, in a beautiful green forest, there lived a gentle dove. She built her nest on the branch of a tall, old tree near a sparkling river. Every morning, she would wake up with the first rays of the sun, chirp sweet songs, and fly over the river to drink fresh water. In the same forest lived a small ant. She was tiny, but she was hard-working and kind. She lived with her ant family in a small hole near the riverbank. Every day, she would go out searching for food, carrying tiny grains back to the nest. She worked hard all day, but she was always happy because she loved her family and wanted to help them. One bright sunny morning, the ant woke up early and left her nest to find food. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and the river sparkled like diamonds. The ant walked along the riverbank, searching for something to eat. She was very focused on her work and did not notice that she was getting closer and closer to the edge of the river. Suddenly, the soft earth crumbled under her tiny feet, and the ant slipped into the water. "Oh no! Help! Help!" the ant cried out, but her voice was too small. The river current was strong, and the little ant was struggling to stay afloat. The dove, sitting on the tree branch, heard the faint cry for help. She looked down and saw the tiny ant struggling in the water. The dove's heart was filled with kindness. She knew she had to help. Without wasting a moment, the dove flew down, picked a big leaf from a nearby bush, and dropped it gently into the water near the ant. "Climb on," the dove called softly. The ant struggled but managed to grab the leaf. She climbed onto it, feeling safe. The leaf floated gently down the river and eventually came to rest near the riverbank. The ant quickly crawled off the leaf and onto dry ground. She was safe. The ant looked up at the dove and said, "Thank you. You saved my life. I will never forget your kindness." The dove smiled gently and said, "We should all help one another. Be safe, little one." The ant nodded and went home, her heart filled with gratitude. She told all her ant friends about the kind dove who had saved her. Days passed. The ant often thought about the dove and wondered how she could ever repay her. The dove had saved her life, and she wanted to do something in return. But what could a tiny ant do for a bird as big and beautiful as the dove? One afternoon, the ant was out gathering food near the same riverbank. Suddenly, she noticed something strange. A hunter was hiding behind a bush. He had a net and a bow with sharp arrows. The hunter's eyes were fixed on something in the tree. The ant followed the hunter's gaze and gasped. He was aiming at the dove. The ant's heart raced. She knew she had to do something. She looked at the hunter's feet and saw that he was standing still, ready to shoot. Quickly, the ant ran as fast as her little legs could carry her. Without hesitation, she bit the hunter's foot. "Ow!" the hunter cried, jumping up in pain. The sudden pain made the hunter lose his balance. His arrow missed the dove, flying harmlessly into the air. The dove, startled by the noise, flapped her wings and flew away to safety. High in the sky, the dove looked down and saw the hunter rubbing his foot. She also saw the tiny ant running back to the safety of her hole. The dove realized what had happened. The ant had saved her. The dove flew down near the ant's hole and called softly, "Little one, was that you?" The ant popped her head out and nodded. "Yes, it was me. You once saved my life. Today, I saved yours." The dove's eyes filled with tears of joy. "You are small, but you are brave and kind. Thank you for saving me." The ant smiled and said, "Kindness always comes back. I am happy I could help you." From that day on, the dove and the ant became the best of friends. Even though one lived in the trees and the other on the ground, they often met near the river to talk and enjoy the beauty of nature. They shared their food, their stories, and their dreams. The dove would tell tales of flying over distant lands, and the ant would share stories of teamwork and hard work in the ant colony. Seasons changed. Spring turned to summer, then autumn, and then winter. But their friendship only grew stronger with time. One cold winter morning, the ant woke up to find the ground covered in snow. There was no food, and it was hard for the ant colony to survive. The ant thought of her friend, the dove, and wondered if she was safe and warm. Just then, she heard the soft flutter of wings. She looked up and saw the dove flying toward her, carrying small berries and grains in her beak. The dove dropped the food near the ant's nest. "I knew you might need help," said the dove. The ant and her family were overjoyed. They thanked the dove again and again. The dove smiled and said, "Friends always help each other." The winter passed, and spring returned. Flowers bloomed, birds sang, and the forest became green again. The dove and the ant continued their friendship, teaching others the importance of kindness, courage, and helping one another. One day, the dove said to the ant, "You are so small, yet you showed such great courage. I have learned that size does not matter, heart does." The ant smiled and said, "And I have learned that no matter how big or small we are, we all need help sometimes." Years went by, and their friendship became famous throughout the forest. Animals would often gather near the river to hear the story of the dove and the ant. The wise old owl would tell young animals, kindness and courage can come from the most unexpected places. Remember the dove and the ant. Even the hunter, who had once tried to catch the dove, learned a lesson. He stopped hunting birds and became a protector of the forest. He would tell his children, "If a tiny ant can save a dove, we can all learn to live kindly." The dove and the ant continued to meet every morning by the river. They would greet the sunrise together and talk about all they had learned. The dove said, "I have traveled far and wide, but the most beautiful thing I have ever seen is the kindness of a friend." The ant replied, "I may be small, but I have a big heart, thanks to your kindness." And so, they lived happily, showing everyone that kindness is never wasted. No act of kindness is too small. Even a tiny ant can make a big difference. The forest became a place where animals helped one another. The squirrel shared his nuts, the deer guided lost animals, and the birds sang songs of friendship. The story of the dove and the ant was passed down from generation to generation, reminding everyone that kindness, bravery, and friendship are the greatest treasures. And every time the sun rose over the river, the dove and the ant would sit together, side by side, a bird and an insect, the best of friends. They knew that no matter how big or small you are, you can make a difference. And that is the story of the dove and the ant. A story of kindness, courage, and friendship that never ends. Subscribe to the channel for more stories.